Hello again, YouTubers. I'm SpongeBob 101 back here again on the SpongeBob channel with our very first episode review video for the Patrick Star Show. As you can see, we are on the Apple TV page for the Patrick Star Show, and currently it only shows that you can actually watch on Hulu, but the season pass is available now on iTunes. I'm not too sure about Amazon Video, but I bought my season pass off iTunes. So yeah, today we will be reviewing Late for Breakfast and Bummer Jobs. The synopsis states, Patrick presents a show about food after missing out on a hearty breakfast. Also, Patrick and SpongeBob experience the wonders of the workforce. So let's start off first with Late for Breakfast. I thought this episode was relatively mediocre. It was not a wow-like episode, and it's not because this is a spin-off or anything. I thought the content of this episode really wasn't that fantastic. So let's go over what actually happened in this episode. First up, we do have Patrick getting ready for the day. I mean, there's some random gags, right? Like Patrick using a huge brush and like sharpening it down to a little toothbrush, and instead of brushing his teeth, brushes his eyes instead. And then of course, you know, when Patrick tries to get out of the door, or his room door, which has eyes for some reason, he enters this like hallway in a medieval castle with this crazy knight dude rushing towards him. Like, what is this, man? I mean, there's no explanation as to what is happening here. Of course, what is hinted at is that this door here is actually a portal to other places or worlds or dimensions, something like that, you know. So it's not explained, but then suddenly we then have Squidina coming right through the bottom part of the door, and she helps Patrick set up the Patrick Show. Yes, we have a show within a show. Okay, now this is probably my favorite part of this episode here, where there's the musical number where Patrick introduces his show. We have all of these random scenes. Of course, Patrick instantly slams into the screen and his butt is showing. So then we have break time. Wow, that was a pretty fast break, don't you think? But okay, before we go on, I do just want to say one thing about the theme song. How many of you were disappointed that the theme song was not even a song? I was really excited till I have we saw Camp Coral, and we had no sneak peeks for the Camp Coral theme song. That theme song, honestly, in my opinion, was awesome. Just introducing his mom, his dad, his grandpa, his sister. Seriously, how can that even be a theme song? I don't understand this. We do have break time here, so we have a commercial from none other than the Chum Bucket. Okay, this part I did like somewhat because Plankton was advertising his chums. Yeah, the first non-Patrick character that is originally from the main series, it shows up, and it is Plankton. Apparently Patrick has breakfast at lunchtime and starts his show at slightly earlier than 12, so that just gives us a glimpse into his daily routine. Then when that door acts up again, sucking Patrick into a black hole essentially, and Patrick is fuming, so he takes the door off the wall. This door seems really just to be a portal. It's not really a door, which does make sense now that you can take it off the wall. Anyways, Patrick does make it to the kitchen. And then unfortunately, when he wants to go ahead and start eating his pancakes, which we saw on the table just a couple moments ago, it is not there. So poor Patrick, he doesn't have his breakfast. And also his family members literally open the window and throw the dishes out. Why would you do that? Why? This doesn't make any sense at all. Okay, anyways, they do shove off after that. So honestly, I'm not too impressed about Patrick's family so far. However, Patrick is determined to get some breakfast. He opens the fridge, and the fridge is some kind of portal as well. So this opens up to that same castle corridor where that crazy night guy is rushing towards Patrick, and Patrick manages to avoid him by just a bit, I guess. Okay, so that recurring character is literally recurring. And then we have the second set of recurring characters. These guys, these are the dart fishes, but I feel kind of bad for them because all they have to eat each meal is like a crumb. And it's never specified why this is so, but they just shove off after that. So yeah, so far the in-depth explanation is not very good. Maybe we will have more explanation to all of this in future episodes, or either that or these occurrences are just meant to be completely random. So then we have this part where there's this futuristic city with fireworks coming out of it. Next we have Patrick hacking away at Grandpat's bed using a mining pick because he's looking for food. Typical Patrick dumbness, but then Grandpat tells Patrick the story of how he had to find food in olden days, right? Where we have Patrick and Grandpat as cavemen, and we have Plankton as a dinosaur. Unfortunately, these two characters did get eaten by Squidosaurus Rex. Squidosaurus Rex can play the prehistoric version of the clarinet. Then, again, very random shift here. Cooking with Patrick. Why not, right? So we have a random cooking part. Patrick makes a casserole out of trash. Well, it was a waste of time watching that, honestly. But what was not a waste of time focusing on was the scrolling words that happened at the end of the Patrick show in this episode. So let's just quickly look through these lines. Any resemblance to persons living or dead is foo. What is foo? I don't know. If this show were to be lost, please don't return it. We beg of you. Okay, so it seems like some guy working on a show doesn't like his job. Maybe he should not have his job, eh? Okay, third one. No cartoons were harmed in the making of the show. Okay, pretty neutral. My dad was right. I should have studied law as a fallback. Is anyone even reading this? Hello? Can someone call my mom? I need a ride home. Man, I hope whoever wrote this got a ride, because maybe they're still there. Okay, let's not think too much about it. It's getting dark, and now it's starting to rain. Why did I wear my sweet lederhosen? Is that some kind of like German clothing? I don't know. Comment box below if you guys know. Maybe I should call for a scuba. I could go for a Krabby Patty right about now. Man, I mean, I'm recording this close to dinner time. Yeah, I could go for some Krabby Patties right about now. And finally, may all your days be Patrick Star Day. So pretty cool last line there. Of course, Squidina is really happy. Ouchie is clapping, which is pretty cute, I gotta say, even though it's a sea urchin. Time for dinner, and we see the dartfishes again for no real reason. Bunny Star produces some kind of the trash casserole that she apparently learned from Patrick by watching his show. There, of course, there's a mention about essentially a sponge in SquarePants for a bubble act by Squidina. So we then have the ending of the episode where there's this, I guess, relatively nice sunset scene with Squidosaurus Rex in the background there playing his prehistoric clarinet. And again, the clouds are stars. I'm not sure how this is Bikini Bottom if the clouds are stars. It's probably gonna have to be a different town or just a different version of Bikini Bottom. There's this cute little scene where Patrick tucks in Ouchie, and then of course Patrick goes to sleep on his rock, which hangs off from the ceiling. So that is really how the episode ends. Of course, we do see Bunny and Cecil at the very end, as well as the Night Dude. Why is he even in this episode? So I give this episode a 6 out of 10. Yeah, comment box below, what do you think about Late for Breakfast? It was a very mundane episode, to say the least, in my opinion. But okay, let's move on real quick to Bummer Jobs. I think this was the more entertaining out of the two. We do see two main characters come back, Squidward as well as SpongeBob. So let's start off with Squidward here. Squidward is a newspaper boy with freckles. Is that what it's called? Freckles on his nose. So yeah, Squidward has this running feud with Cecil Star because Cecil always takes the newspapers without paying for them. And so that gets Squidward really, really frustrated. Then we do see Cecil and Bunny get ready for work. There's this little scene where Cecil is tying his shirt. Excuse me, not tying his shirt, tying his tie. And then there's this random part where Cecil tries to explain to Patrick how jobs are formed. And he essentially suggests that jobs are formed just like how children are formed. So I'm not sure about you, but I think that's an absolutely ridiculous explanation. I think this was the lowest point of this part of this episode. So yeah, anyways, Patrick is really excited to get a job, however, and just to find his purpose. But he keeps saying porpoise, which is like this guy, this bluefish. So this guy is the recurring character in this episode. Squidina is pretty satisfied being the producer of the Patrick show. So we then have the start of this episode's Patrick show. And Patrick is trying to tie his tie. It doesn't work out, okay? He has this little like toilet roll thingy where he can just make new ties out of. So that was pretty funny. And also he does accidentally fall out of the screen on his own spectator. Now, this is where the episode really picks up. SpongeBob shows up, and both of them are on the hunt for jobs because, I mean, SpongeBob specifically just needs a little bit more cash. So, Squidina follows them with her cameras, and they go over to Scuttle and Save. In the inside, it looks very much familiar to the Bargain Mart. either in lights, camera, pans, or even in the main show. So regardless, their SpongeBob and Patrick take up jobs as bag boys, BAG boys. Basically, they just pack the groceries for the shoppers, and you know, they're doing pretty well for a while. Okay, and before they start messing with the customers like SpongeBob. Absolutely, I don't even know why SpongeBob did this. It was pretty funny to see, but he turned this guy's groceries into a hat. What? Yeah, so and then eventually they do get fired because they were fooling around too much. And it's time for opportunity number 2, painting Mabel's house or fence. So they do start painting, but of course very unprofessionally, as you can see here. It's they make a whole mess, and this title card says it all. So after that, Mabel comes back and look at that fence. Would you want a fence like that in reality? No, thank you. So they also gave Mabel's house a makeover, which clearly Mabel did not like. The third job is basically taxi driving, but without the taxi. So they were giving piggyback rides. So yeah, this taxi thing doesn't work out too well. I mean, SpongeBob's literally carrying this robber, and Patrick is carrying the policewoman from, what was it? The Krusty Slammer. So yeah, we do have a random clip here of Noir Sense. Not a clip, but SpongeBob and Patrick are watching this while they have their break. Basically, it features Fred, and I think this is the cool thing about this show. It brings more secondary characters or background characters to the spotlight, even for just a little bit. So in this case, we have Fred alone, and he's getting like interrogated by these gangster dudes, right? And all he says is my leg, but eventually he manages to escape because these two guys are just messing with themselves, right? And they're not really threatening Fred anymore. Okay, so then we fast forward to Cecil getting back home. So he has a helmet, some shoulder pads, and a sword. So that really, honestly, I thought Cecil was like a football player, but then I was thinking like, I mean, what football player needs a sword, right? So maybe he's like a gladiator or something. Anyway, Squidward still wants to get the money from Cecil, and well, he enlists the help of SpongeBob and Patrick. The porpoise guy is here again, and of course, SpongeBob and Patrick attempt to, well, get the money from Cecil, but Cecil literally packed their bags. So yeah, Squidina suggests that they can be like the tough guys in Noir Sense, right? So they become like mafia dudes here, SpongeBob and Patrick. So yeah, we have that random scene where Patrick tried to hold the newspaper hostage, but they fail as well, and then they just try to keep the door open, and then they fail as well. But eventually they do manage to get the money from Cecil, and it's actually just a coin. Before even handing it over to Squidward, they just snap it in half and be like, oh, that's our pay for the day. Man, poor Squidward. So he just puts the news bag over his head and just hollers in there. Poor Squidward. So yeah, Patrick eventually decides that, you know, his purpose is to, well, host the Patrick Star Show, and of course then Squidina actually kidnapped the porpoise bluefish dude, and yeah, doesn't let him go. Poor guy. So yeah, that's how the episode ends. I would give this episode a 8 out of 10. I thought this episode was way more entertaining than Late for Breakfast. I think the SpongeBob and the Squidward aspect of this episode kind of raised the score a bit more. So yeah, comment box below what you thought about bummer jobs, and that's all for this video. Make sure to subscribe, like, favorite, comment, etc. Keep right here on SpongeBob 101. I will have another episode review next Saturday, of course, when the second episode comes around, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next SpongeBob video. Bye!